I'm not gonna walk around with bare feet in this disgusting house. Nasty. But I want a house that's furnished. You made promise.
Look, I don't like to see you up.
Don't touch me.
This is what happens when you date an inmate and you don't furnish your home. Scott, you need to learn. It's just like Match.com, he says. There's no difference. It's no big deal. She may have been arrested a few times and she got into a high-speed chase, but her generation was really into those Vin Diesel Fast and Furious movies, so it's not really the same. Like, if I get into a high-speed chase, I'm just some old guy speeding on the road. Nobody gives a shit. Who am I to get into a high-speed chase? By the way, I think this is the picture that Scott sent to Lindsay when she was in jail to, like, steal her heart, you know? This was the one that did it, because if you'll notice, he took it at an angle in his kitchen that makes it look more furnished than it really is. What is that, a coffee maker in the background? It's hard to tell, but either way, that's no accident. He wanted to make everything look very perfect, but it turns out that's the only appliance in his home. Imagine your relationship being so bad, you have an entire article written about you. Look at this, that's where I got the picture. The article talks about this insane guy who moved to another state to marry an inmate, and there he is, sure enough, with his coffee maker. He moved to another state, he bought a house, then he just left it empty and sat around drinking coffee on the floor for 6 months, I guess. So she gets out, she sees he's done nothing, and he's like, but look, there's a closet right there. So then she ends up cheating on him and breaking a bunch of stuff in his home. Like, that's the story you're about to see. I'm not kidding. And then she dates Deontay. Like, you can't make this up. I should be arrested for not covering this sooner. Look how satisfied he looks with himself right there. Anyway, pretend I didn't just spoil everything here, because I tend to be a little too pessimistic. Sometimes I prejudge. But, you know, we've learned over the years that love comes in many shapes and sizes and forms, and love is blind. And love usually costs a lot of money. Sometimes the only thing holding love together is money. Sometimes, in order to truly love someone, they have to furnish their home in a timely manner. Anyway, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Scott. Scott, take it away.
I'm not interested in getting involved with someone who's going to be a train wreck for the next 25 years. So Lindsay has provided me with pictures and magazines of things that caught her eye for each room.
Great.
Scott is what you'd basically call a dating genius. He's done everything already, so now he has to challenge himself by dating the most impossible person to date ever. Like, you know, the second one thing goes wrong, you better duck, because whatever you just recently bought her is getting thrown at your head. Even if you don't do anything wrong, you should probably just duck. You should always just be crouched down, maybe wearing some kind of chainmail or a suit of armor. So if you'll notice here, Scott, being the genius that he is, he put a bunch of pictures on the wall and like cutouts from magazines of how he wants the place to look based on Lindsay's suggestions. This is okay for the time being, Scott, but you got 2 days to go. She's gonna get out and be able to stare at some pictures on the wall of how the place is going to look. Now, I could have told you if you do this, it's gonna be a disaster. If you were dealing with someone reasonable, it's nothing you can't get past, but for her, it's more than the end of the world.
They came across Lindsay's profile on the internet. And I don't think it's really anything different than maybe Match.com or something, but they just happened to be in freaking prison. Decided to write her, got a response back, and our relationship took off from there.
Yeah, well, too bad she's going to be the one who takes off literally the second anything happens at all. This guy's relationship kind of parallels Sean and Destiny. They're two very shy guys who are just continuously shelling out money and getting punched in the head and getting all their stuff destroyed. Part of me feels bad, and part of me is like, well, why did you go on a dating website for inmates and then expect it to go perfectly? It's not like anybody who's ever been in prison is going to be this way, but you're definitely gambling.
This is where Lindsay is from.
Okay.
So I came here to be with Lindsay, start a new life.
So what does she do?
Lindsay is,
Whenever somebody asks him something like that, there really is no answer because she hasn't gotten her life on track yet. People like Scott often think they're going to help, but in reality, they're usually just financially enabling the person to continue to go down the same path. People like Lindsay do not need people like Scott in their life. He thinks he can undo all of her problems with the power of love. Scott thinks he can send her this picture and be a cool 51-year-old and buy her stuff and everything will be okay forever. It's like Scott thinks jail is some abstract concept and not a real place that people sometimes unfortunately go to for a good reason.
I don't think Lindsay is a troublemaker, and I think trouble finds Lindsay because she is a very beautiful, pretty white young girl. But I'm pretty confident that she does not want to go back to prison.
Did you hear that? That's how things work. Yep, according to Scott, if you're a pretty white girl, you're just gonna get in trouble all the time and go to jail. So he's literally trying to claim that her recklessly driving down the highway and endangering other people's lives is because he finds her pretty. Everything that led up to cause her to make the decision that day is because she's pretty. That's how Scott's brain works. That's how you end up in this article.
You're gonna be able to handle her? How old is she?
Well, she's actually 27.
Ah! So how old are you?
I'm 51.
And then she's been incarcerated too. Boy, you got your work cut out. You have to keep Viagra on both sides of the bed.
It's always so funny in the beginning of every season when they think they can handle it. Scott thinks he can live the dream. He's still living in that delusional mindset. He thinks he can have an unfurnished home and an inmate girlfriend. Well, it's not going to happen, Scott. The unfurnished home, though, is simply a placeholder. She would have found any reason to get upset. In fact, he's probably better off that it happened right away. Imagine moving your entire life somewhere else just to be with someone, and then within 2 hours of meeting them in person, you just want to give up on everything. She pretty much pounds this guy into submission right away, right down into a little jelly.
All you 50-year-old guys out there, you can be jealous as you want.
Okay.
So what's your ballpark and what you think it's going to cost?
Well, I want to say you about right at maybe 50,000.
I would say Scott has to send me somewhere around $15,000 to $20,000.
So to be clear, Scott has never even met Lindsay in person yet, and he wants her to move in with him right away. That means potentially the first time she could have seen him is when he was creepily peering out through the glass. A lot of people on the show, especially the people who are dating someone a lot younger than them, they don't talk about their partner like they're just a normal partner. They speak of them as if they're some kind of mythical legend that they're about to encounter. Because so many of these people are still worried about the possibility of a catfish scenario, it's like they're waiting to witness a natural phenomenon.
Obviously, we all carry a little spending money around in our pocket, so I'm going to make sure that Lindsay has that.
Sorry, but this is gonna decline.
So Scott wants to make a big entrance when he first meets Lindsay. He hires a limo to pick her up. Also, because Lindsay has had to eat prison food for a while, he plans to bring her something nice, and he brings 2 steak dinners that he got from a restaurant. So he did all of this, but apparently he didn't finish working on the home, which is the only thing she cares about, according to her. It's like he knows she's going to be disappointed with the house, so he's trying to soften the blow with a steak. It's a good thing Jesse isn't here because he probably would have lost it completely. Anyway, now Scott aimlessly wanders through the airport while the steak gets cold.
I'm thinking they would come through here. That's what I think. So I'll stand right here. Do you know what time the plane from Atlanta is due to land?
So it sounds like Scott has not actually gotten any official confirmation that this is where Lindsay is landing. I think he just heard it from her a while back. However, he seems to be very trusting in her. I mean, I don't think he would have prepared the steak dinners if he thought she wasn't going to show up. You can hear the desperation in his voice as the steaks get progressively colder and he realizes she may not be showing up. She's definitely not going to be happy if she shows up and all he has is an unfurnished home and a cold steak. As much as she talks about being in love with him and how he changed her life, she's not really as in love with him as she is with his ability to provide her steaks in a furnished home. Once either of those things are out of the equation, it's game over.
There it is. There's Lindsay's plane.
Lindsay, where are you? Lindsay! Look at this angle right here. You make this black and white and it blends seamlessly into an Alfred Hitchcock movie. He just starts sneaking around the runway like James Stewart, and he's questioning people if they've seen Lindsay. He's like, I don't even care. I want to be in jail with her. I got steaks in the car. I can't wait any longer.
This the flight from Atlanta? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was looking for my girlfriend who was supposed to be on board, and obviously she's not. I'll have to look into that. Great, thank you.
Now he's like, well, I'm cooked. You know, I knew this was a tender situation, and I had a lot at stake here. Maybe once this all simmers down, she can move in, and she'll probably end up throwing a ribeye at my head. So Scott desperately tries to call like 30 different people to figure out what happened here and why Lindsay wasn't on the plane. This is a common occurrence on this show. Nobody ever knows anything, and then eventually some person comes wandering out of somewhere, and they meet up, and they're happy for like 15 minutes. So now Scott spends the rest of the night eating the steak with the limo driver, and I'm pretty sure this limo driver knew he was getting a free steak out of this this from the beginning. I mean, when Scott told this guy the plan, I'm sure he was like, you're doing what now? Yeah, dude, I hate to break it to you, but all that food's going to waste, so we might as well just eat it. Even if she was here, all of it would have gone to waste because it would have gone on the floor as soon as you guys got into an argument. Scott, you're not thinking. You don't bring a food that doubles as a weapon. As soon as she sees that kitchen, that T-bone's going at your head.
At this point, I have no knowledge of where Lindsay is or why she did not get on that plane. So
Scott is going into detective mode right here. He's like, something's not adding up. And I got the limo already and everything. And that's on video, so I got credit for that. There's proof that I did that, so I don't have to do it when she actually shows up, because that took a lot. In all seriousness, it's unfortunate but still hilarious that he decided to spend all that money on a limo and everything to pick her up, and she didn't show up, and obviously when she does show up, he's not going to do all that again. But Lindsay doesn't exactly strike me as the type to be very understanding when it comes to that.
I think maybe the reason Lindsay didn't come out last night was she's just smart enough to stay in trouble.
What?
She knows rules, she knows regulations, and she knows if they're not following them, she will write up a guard or someone in a heartbeat, and they...
What the hell is this woman talking about? This is her mother? She's just smart enough to stay in trouble? Why would you say such a thing? What are you talking about? She's just smart enough to stay in prison longer? She's saying that Lindsay understands all of the rules, but she just breaks them and stays in prison longer? What is smart about that? Yeah, Lindsay's a real genius. She's just smart enough to get caught running from the police at 140 miles per hour. You're not going to get away with that nowadays. Do people think there's like a finish line, you get past it and the police just go away? So in this next scene, Scott decides it'd be cool if he just doesn't wear a shirt the whole time. Why not? You know, that's cool. He found out that Lindsay didn't get let out because she got smart with a security guard or something, so that's a good sign. It's just like Match.com though. She's gonna get out and they're just gonna be happily watching romantic comedies every night. Nobody's gonna throw any drinks or steaks. Everything's gonna be wonderful from here on out. So now the day has finally come and Scott shows up to the airport with this truck, and that all just sets the tone for everything to come. He shows up limoless, steakless, and desperate, and that's never a good look.
a lot of, challenges. It was pretty much close to impossible to get another limo.
Hey, I don't want to hear any
Had
excuses.
No time to put this together. But hey, I think I could pick Lindsay up on a bicycle at this point. She'd be happy.
Oh man, I don't think you understand how wrong you are, Scott. If he actually tried to pick her up on a bicycle, she would steal it from him and crash it into a limo. Imagine if he showed up on a bike with like 2 Big Macs and a bag. All right, Lindsay, I'm here. You ready to go home? You might have to help me install a new water filter, and the toilet is actually, we don't have one. Listen, Lindsay, everything's gonna be cool. I got coffee, I got a closet, I have Love Actually on Blu-ray. Although I don't actually own a Blu-ray player. Come to think of it, I don't remember the last time I bought a DVD. I don't really know why I bought this. We can't watch it, but you can come over, we can look at the box art. I hear there's a Leave It to Beaver marathon on cable. I don't have running water.
Within just a couple of months, we were literally talking as much as possible. And I actually was the one that told Scott I loved him before he told me, which I rarely do. But I'm really nervous about seeing Scott for the first time.
So right now, she's putting on this act as if she cares about him at all. They've supposedly been talking on and off for 4 years at this point, and they've been in a relationship for 2. Lindsay, however, reveals that, wow, big surprise, she wasn't just talking to Scott, she was talking to other people, and she had girlfriends in prison. It's kind of amazing. If she got 15 to 20 grand from him over like a 2-year period, then you can eventually turn this into a full-time job if you have enough people. It makes sense that they call them a trick because it's almost hard to believe. It's like, you want to see a trick? Here's 20 grand from some random guy. All I had to do was send him a dancing emoji.
We have this ratchet ass looking drug dealer looking truck.
That's my work truck.
Uh-huh.
That was,
Like, this is a truck I would go mud riding in.
I know.
So right away, she just starts roasting the shit out of his truck, and keep in mind, this is the first time they've ever met in person. She's not even gonna pretend to be nice at all, and I imagine it's very frustrating for him since he did have the limo and everything ready last time, and it's her fault that she didn't get out in time. It's obvious from the beginning that she is very entitled and ungrateful, and she starts calling his house her house right away. As soon as she gets back, she's like, why is my house not ready, Scott? You know what, go sleep on the couch. I'm gonna sleep in my bedroom. I'm not even kidding. She makes him sleep on the couch in his own home, the home that she just arrived in. It's not even like they've been together or lived together for a while. Like, they immediately start off with him on the couch.
I'm just ready to get home. I can finally see my house for the first time. I'm ready to get in the shower and get in a really good mood.
Oh, no, you're not. So many people on this show, like Lindsay, have zero goals or ambitions when they get out of jail. I understand for a little while you just want to relax and enjoy the fact that you have freedom again, but it's not like she ever talks about wanting to get a job or wanting any independence or a life of her own. She just wants to rely on him and ruin his life, essentially. Just like Destiny, the extent of her current ambitions is just, I want a pool. Okay, great. Well, you're 27. You should probably get your life together. But when you have a bunch of 51-year-olds relentlessly throwing money at you like they're desperately trying to heave a bunch of objects off a sinking ship, then you constantly have an excuse and a reason to not get your life together. This guy, he's enabling it.
Kitchen is over here. There's the garage where we'll be putting in Miley Grace's room. And then this is your closet that I busted my hump on. You know, it's got the drawers you wanted. You have all of your stuff. And it looks almost identical to the pictures.
Damn it, Scott, you're telling me this is what you busted your hump over? Because you didn't bust it enough. Your hump isn't busted. In case you haven't noticed, there is stuff all over the house. Everything's disorganized. Some of the rooms have only been half painted. What do you think, you're gonna trick me just because there's pictures on the wall? Like it's some kind of illusion? If I look at the picture long enough, I'm not gonna notice the mess in the other room. You know what, Scott? Go sit in the corner and think about what you've done.
Couple of things I have to finish, but...
A couple? What the How am I supposed to stay here with no place for my kid to live?
I'm not sure what he told her, but he definitely shouldn't have said that everything was ready to go. I'm wondering if he thinks maybe because she was just in jail, she's going to be very grateful no matter what, but that turns out not to be the case at all. In fact, she almost prefers jail to this. And this isn't just his house that he's always had that she's moving into. Like, he moved here to live with her. He changed his entire life just for her to get out and roast the shit out of his car and his house. So just 2 hours later, Scott looks like he's been through 30 years of stress from a toxic marriage. She doesn't seem happy to see him at all. She's complained about virtually everything since she got there. It's not like I don't understand some of the points she's making when it comes to the house, but if somebody is this negative right off the bat, you know it's not going to be good in the long run.
What if I need to be clean, like, hardcore? Like, bad?
I mean, I cleaned it. I didn't scrub the floors or anything.
God, what are you doing, dude? Seriously. You gotta clean up a little more than that. I think even a reasonable person would have somewhat of an issue with it. As annoying as she can be, she's not exactly wrong that the place needs to be cleaned and that it's not close to being ready for her daughter to move in there. Scott just seems annoyed already and like he's not taking anything she's saying seriously, which is bound to just make things worse.
I thought it was like I was gonna come in and we were just finishing touches, like paint a wall and put some more furniture in. This is like holes in the floor, the carpet needs to be completely done. And Miley's room's not, like, it looks like a construction zone.
So putting aside the fact of how disturbing all of this is, if they're planning to move her daughter in here, then he's definitely being irresponsible. He probably should have had this coming along a lot more by now, but she's of course not going to make this any easier just by complaining about everything. Like I said, it's also possible that he misled her on how much of the house was done. That's what she claims, but of course she's not the most trustworthy person. Overall, the point is, Scott set himself up for a disaster here, a never-ending cascade of disasters, in fact.
This isn't like a few things. This is crazy, actually.
Is there anything right? Very, very nice closet that you wanted. Looks exactly like the picture.
I want a little bit more than the closet. I've been living in a 5x8.
I love this little head bob she does. You know shit's getting serious now. I know I keep saying this, but imagine speaking this way to your boyfriend that you just met in person like 2 hours ago. Literally 2 hours ago. She's already standing over him and yelling at him and lecturing him. I mean, where does it go from here if this is how it starts? When your love for someone is based on furnishing a house, you know it's not going to end well. As soon as she saw the house, all of the positive feelings she had for him just disintegrated. At this point, whenever she sees his face, all she sees is a target for a stake.
You told me you were gonna do stuff and then you didn't follow through with it. So you point blank lied. You made it sound like I was coming home to Disney World with all these things I picked out and I came home to the county fair.
You know, you're very ungrateful.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with the county fair, okay? A lot of good times at the fair. I'm really feeling the love here. There's a lot of chemistry between them. I'm feeling the love, actually. Maybe we should go get that Blu-ray player. Listen, Lindsay, I know things aren't going so well right now. I know the house isn't what you expected it to be, and I picked you up in a truck. But look, here's a picture of the limo that I showed up in before at the airport. Babe, the steaks were out of this world, okay? The limo driver said it was the best steak he ever had. You know what? I'm gonna call him up. He could totally fill you in and let you know.
You got a roof over your head?
I had a roof over my head in prison.
All right, I don't have handcuffs on you. You're very ungrateful.
You know what?
So yeah, for a second there, she charged right at him. It's funny because earlier she's like, I'm gonna go home and shower and be in a good mood. And then 30 minutes later, she's screaming and charging at him like an orc from Lord of the Rings. This is what not furnishing your home will do. Imagine going full orc 2 hours after you meet the supposed love of your life. And you know what I realized? She's on house arrest and this is where she has to stay. So she's basically losing her mind. I thought she was being way too extreme here until I thought about it like that, and I kind of realized if I were under house arrest with Scott, this is how I would react too. I would probably also scream and punch a hole in the wall, and in fact I saw other holes in the wall. I wonder if this is like the 4th woman he's tried this with and they all just keep showing up, flipping out and punching holes in the wall. This is just a sad tale of a lonely man sitting around drinking coffee in an empty house, luring in women just to scare them with his lack of furnishings. It's like a modern day folktale somehow. Don't ask how that makes any sense.
Look, I don't like to see you up.
Don't touch me.
Touch me.
A little shocked at the dichotomy.
Oh, okay, are you? You're a little shocked, a little confused here, a little surprised. This isn't what you expected, Scott. You didn't really anticipate any of this? You didn't see it coming? Wasn't really on your radar? Just failed to sound off any alarm bells? Just slipped your mind, you know? Scott, I hate to say it, but I don't think this relationship is gonna work out. The highlight of your relationship with Lindsay is when she didn't show up and you sat and ate a steak with the limo driver. That was the best moment of your relationship. But anyway, that brings us to the end of this video, and before I go, I just want to say that I'm gonna be posting videos every single week on Patreon now. Every single Thursday will be Jersey from now on, and there's already been 18 episodes. I'm really grateful for everyone who supports me on Patreon because it's a massive help, and the more of us there are, the more videos I'll be able to post over there. So it'd be great if anyone who's interested is willing to check it out. If not, I'm still gonna have some stuff available for free members. Even if you're not interested in any of that, thank you so much for watching and liking the video and for supporting the channel over the years. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time.
So Lindsay has provided me with pictures and magazines of things that caught her eye.
We have this ratchet ass looking drug dealer looking truck.
That's my work truck. Kitchen is over here. There's the garage where
You told me you were gonna do stuff and then you didn't follow through with it. So you point blank lie.
all you 50-year-old guys out there, you can be jealous as you want.
Like, this is the truck I was mud riding in.
I know.